Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis with the Active Trend Traders. Welcome to the Aftermarket Monday. A quick snapshot of how the market has started the week, and some of the things I'm looking at that are reaching on my radar that I'm taking a look at for the week. I want to remind everybody that all the materials are presented for training purposes only. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. I want to welcome everybody. I hope that you had an absolute fabulous weekend. It was fantastic over here. We got lots of rain, but it turned out, we were getting beautiful mornings and then rainy afternoons, and so it's awesome. So let's get into what we're going to be doing. The objective of Aftermarket Monday: 1, fast market review, stocks, ETFs setting up, and potential what else's if we have time. Our objective is to get this done within 10 to 15 minutes, and so that basically you have the snapshot, and away we go from there. And so here's what I'm looking at coming up for this week. We jump right into it. Cruise, ES&T, Grub, all looking good. Tesla, waiting for a good setup in Tesla. And then UCO. We got into UCO back at the beginning of May. It's made a nice little run. It's up about, I want to say 14%, 15% now on the rest of our position. If we get a pullback on UCO, I'm looking at going for a full position. One of the things that I have been working on, and if you haven't done this yourself, is I am not reallocating, but I'm basically recalculating my capital distribution. In other words, I have X amount of capital that I use for my investment. About 63% of it goes into strategy 1, which is portfolio building, 10% into just straight option trading, and about 27% into the strategy number 3. Well, with our profits so far with the year, I need to readjust how much I can allocate into each individual trade. That way it helps me continue to take advantage of compounding moving into the year. So I'll be talking about that in a special webinar hopefully sometime this week, but that's what it's very important to take a look at that, because if you're still making the same investments that you made at the beginning of the year based on X amount of capital, and you have have recorded earnings during that time, or profits during that time frame, you need to adjust it, because now you can actually afford to buy a little bit more when it's time to go into a position, and that's what helps that compounding moving forward. So let's take a look at SPX. Highlighted in the traders report, SPX is working within a range down here about 23.29 up to about 24.05, and it is basically just hanging right in there until it breaks out above that, this 24, and sustains a break up above the 24.05. It'll continue to work here in this range. Is that a surprise? No, not really, simply because of the time of year it is. It is, the May through October time frame. So I would be perfectly happy to see the S&P just work sideways within this range. When it gets close to the top and when it gets close to the bottom, that's where we want to be ready to jump on potential trades. So as we move back up, we'll watch to see what happens. It starts getting up into this resistance zone, because that may be the trigger to take a ride back down to the downside. And the range of this zone, 3.3% on the S&P. So multiply that times your 3%, or 3 times for a leverage ETF such as UPRO, and you're looking at about a 8.5 to 9% move. NASDAQ has been the strongest of the indexes, and as you can see, is pushing almost right back up into past resistance. Let's see what happens when it gets back up in here to these past highs. As you can see, look what we got going on here. Got some really good negative divergence going on a weekly chart. and the momentum on a weekly chart just kind of sideways, just kind of driving sideways. Typical summer type of moves on the NASDAQ. Again, NASDAQ may move into one of those, range bound with, the lows down here, or even the lows could come all the way back down to the 5,500 level, and it could just bounce around in there, going into the final spring and into the summer, early fall time frame. Russell, I'm still interested in Russell. It is, but I want to get it back down here closer to a bounce down here. As you can see, we got actually got a trigger on it on Friday, but it's moved right back up into resistance at the 50-day moving average, and hasn't broken out totally yet. But it looks like I said, it looks interesting. Any type of a retest back in here, back down to the 100-day moving average, or that may give us a spring load, as I highlighted, up here. 1400 to 1420 is the upper side resistance, and about 1352 down here to about the 1335 is the lower level support. So watch for those moves. And what's interesting on the Russell is that this move from, let's take it from here to about here, is about a 4%, let's say a 4% move, and that equates, using trading TNA, to about a 12% move. So when the indexes go into one of these very confined, range-bound moves, just sideways, just wait for, I've got triggers down here to alert me when I get down to about the 1352 level. That'll alert me to get into, that it's time to look at TNA for a potential trade to the upside. I can forego, if I want to, trading it to the downside with TZA, simply because I can just be interested in only trading, upside moves on the Russell IWM type. But as you can see, flip over to TNA real quick. See TNA, I mean, from these lower levels of support up to, past levels of, about 10, 11, 12% potential gain, and it's happening, fairly quickly within, 5, 6, 7 days, and it's been repeating that, going back all the way back to December of last year. So great thing to keep an eye on. Let's take a little quick at Tesla. Tesla's working on a little bit of a triangle here. I can get rid of that. As you can see, it came down, broke this level of this uptrend line today, but it didn't close below it. So we don't have a green candle above a red dot, but it did close back above the resistance line. But we are below the 8, the 20, and but above the 50. No tick up. A little bit of a tick up on momentum, but we're looking for a tick up on TSI. Nothing there. Still pointing down on the market forecast. And this divergence on the weekly chart still in effect. Still in effect. And I don't do that. And as you can see, again, just kind of we got support down there at 307. If that fails, this support down here at about the 307, 306 level fails, it's probably going to revisit down here at about 291 to 290. So keep that in mind, and that's where we would be looking at potential getting long, or we'll look at if it continues to hammer against this trend line, which is kind of a flag line right now. That would be an thing to look at on the intraday chart for a potential downside trade. The strategy 3 trades we have going on Tesla right now are working very well, but I'm still waiting for the opening for the strategy 2 and strategy 1 trade for the week. CRUS, not ready yet, but we've got a TSI tick up a little bit, and so it's it's kind of like in no man's land, but it may bounce back up to the 67 level, but it's got the support here. So not a really solid, rock star kind of signal, but we do have a buy signal on CRUS. I would feel better with it down at about the 163 level to buy it for the upside move. And let's see. ESNT. Okay, nice move on ESNT. Maybe setting up for a higher low. If the TSI moves back up tomorrow, this could be a potential get back into this trade for a move back up. Nice progress, nice looking patterns, small candles. And so very, very controlled and nice to watch. The ESNT, Grub just made it back onto the list. Grub. Again, nice looking little pullback into support. Watch the support over here at this past resistance area, which it almost made it back in there. So 42.26, and we'll just keep our eye on, waiting for the tick ups here. And so that's what I'm looking at. And like I said, nice pullback on Grub. Okay, how are we doing time-wise? Okay, one of the things on strategy 3, folks, for the premium members, I'm looking at either one NVDA to basically, since we closed the nugget. We've closed the nugget position on strategy 3. Looking at potentially going in either NVDA or Netflix to fill in the blanks on the extra position that we need on that. Both of them look pretty good. And let's see, and lastly, UCO. And UCO has something really cool going on with it. And those who got in with us down here, okay, we are up with UCO now about, if you took this buy back here, we're up, like I said, well, we almost hit 20% today, but it's up there about 19% from where we entered it, because we entered that at, let's take a real quick look, 1569 on the 8th, and so it is moving on up. It's up about 18%. One of the things to take a look at, and this is a really good, take a look at some symmetry of the move. Go from this high low to this high. If this move here maintains the same type of symmetry, how far will it take us? Well, we just basically, I can activate that, which I put in that earlier, drop that into there, where it's approximately right. And so what does that give us? That gives us a upside target of about 1981, and that would be the upside for symmetry of move. So if this move maintains the same symmetry as this move, we've got another little bit to go, about another buck or so to hit symmetry. I would have no problem if it moves another 75 cents, taking the profits off the table, which give us a 20+% move since the beginning of May. Eric wants to take a real quick at Nugget. We'll take a real quick at Nugget. I'm liking Nugget. Nugget is basically doing a congestion thing here. Take a look at, and this will be the last one we're going to do, take a look at what Nugget's doing here compared to what it did earlier in the year back in March, where it got a nice rocket ship move up to the 50, bounced back down, rattled around the cage a little bit, and then sprung and moved higher. Now we are setting ourselves up, and this is for Gary. Sorry, Gary. is are we getting a similar type thing here? We've got a good level of support in there at 33.50, 33.60. Got a good level of resistance up here at 39. And so let's see if we'll rattle around a little bit here as the TSI pulls back a little bit. TSI, kind of is trying to roll up on, the weekly chart. And if we get that breakout, and we're anticipating some kind of a move in the June, July, starting in June, July time frame into the August, September time frame. Here's the move. Here's the move from last year. This is May of last year, May 23rd, and so it had already gone into an uptrend, and it ran up about to the total high about 151%. I'm not saying that it's going to run that high, but gold miners do get a burr under their saddle, and they can run very, very nicely. So with that, guys, I got time. So that's Nugget. That's what I'm waiting on for Nugget, Gary. I'm waiting for can I pull back in here? Now that we have this established, so I would be looking at nibble when it gets down to about 35, and as long as it maintains above the 33.59 level. And if it drops at 33.59 level, I would want to be buying it as it went back up through the 33.59 level. Does it make sense? SB, GI. SBGI, Sinclair Broadcasting. Yeah, I don't know a lot about this company, but it has pulled back down into a support zone. And what's it going to do from here? Clearly this was huge sell-off, back down into a level of support. I would run a real quick fib line on it. I can see a fib line. And go from here to about there. And as you can see from this larger move here, it's pulled back into the magic fib retracement box, and it may bounce from here. Don't know. Would it be worth a nibble? I mean, you can certainly look at. This is the first attempt at a rally. I kind of sometimes like to catch the second attempt on the rally, or this is the first attempt of the rally right here with a tick up on the TSI, got another tick up on the TSI. So anyway, with that, guys, my promise to you is keep it to 10 to 15 minutes, and we just hit a little bit over 15 minutes. So if you have another question about a particular stock, email it to me. God bless everybody. Have a great week, and I hope you get those are some good trade ideas for you moving into this week. Have a great one.